One Team One podcast is back. We got a couple guys now. We're back a little bit. It's not just me running the show. Matt, I got Charlie here. At Charlie's, he was you used to come to my house.
Stable.
Yeah, you were like my studio guy. We got Cole here. Cole, you've been to the house one time. I got a new house now, so Cole is actually. Are you still the beat writer for LSU baseball for the Reveille? Correct.
No, as of right now, I'm working with the Acadiana Cane Cutters in Lafayette.
Awesome. You told me that. I don't know why I didn't remember that, but I know you got some insight on LSU baseball, so we definitely wanted to have you on for this. But big regional episode. Regionals. The title of the episode is "Season Starts Now," and it really does. But before we get into all that, we're going to go through a couple of our sponsors. Bank of England Mortgage. Patrick Michelson at Bank of England Mortgage has been with me from the very beginning. BOESouthernstates.com. Give him a call at 225-810-1805. You can go online, fill out a refi or first mortgage info. He'll call you, figure out the right product for you. Great guy over at Bank of England Mortgage. Also, River City's Total Maintenance, Lucas Orgusa, still going strong over in the Harahan area. NOLA-AC.com. You can call him directly at 504-841-3300. Lucas is a great guy. In River City, they're going to take care of your AC needs. It's getting hot as fucking shit out there. AC needs, plumbing, electrical, that can handle it all up in the North Shore area. Also, we got Fred's in Baton Rouge. Look, Cole's got a Fred shirt on today. Just he knew it. He knew what was going on. Fred's in Tigerland since 1982. Give old Nay Mark those guys go hit them up. Get you a good screwdriver. Perfect for the summertime, especially before regionals start. Also, Bocock Brothers Cigars. Hashtag BCOC. I got my Bocock Brothers hat on, actually. BocockBrothers.com. You can go. They actually have golf gear. They have their boxes of cigars, of course. And you can find them at about 4 different locations in Baton Rouge. Bocock Brothers, hashtag BCocky. Also, it's my new venture, OTOP Design. Do logo design, video editing, social media management. You can reach me at ontopdesignbr@gmail.com, or you can find me on social media. Okay, so let's get right into it. LSU kind of, I guess you would say, stumbled into the regionals a little bit. They're on fire before the season, when the season was going. And then the last few weekends kind of just felt like they were going through the motions until the SEC tournament. The SEC tournament, it felt like they turned it on a little bit, but we can talk about that for a second. SEC tournament seemed like it was one catcher's interference call and one hanging curveball, and that was the difference in the tournament.
Yep, one play each. Because I was watching the game. One of the guys I work with, he had left work. He had taken off. He had left work on Wednesday to go to the game Thursday, Friday, and then potentially Saturday, Sunday. He was at the Arkansas game, and he goes, "Oh shit! Here comes Jay pulling Cooper in with runners on base," which Jay loves to put in Coop with runners on base. We talk about it all the time. Like, for some reason, this is his
that's his go-to guy.
Well, it's his earned runs. I think he puts Cooper in to eat the earned runs. As just
get rid of the starter, bring him in, let him
eat the earned runs, and pick it up until he could get another guy in. Cooper lights out. I literally was texting him, "Oh shit! Well, Coop got out of the inning without giving anything up," and then they called catcher's interference.
Yeah, which, looking back on that catch, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong on this, but looking back on that catcher's interference, at first I thought it was the right call.
Yeah.
Then after, it looked like the guy was way in the box, like out, almost like a foot out of the box. And if his foot was outside of the box, that's a really tough call in that situation. But
I was talking to my buddy about it. It's never the batter's fault, no matter what. Like, it's like the only time it's the batter's fault is if he swings at a strike at his knees and he's falling over himself.
I mean, I was cussing Milazzo, cussing him hard at the screen.
I think you'll see a lot of Travinsky behind the plate. I think Milazzo will be a late game substitution from now on. Because, I mean, hitting wise, Travinsky has been a 4 or 5 guy, and while you could DH him and Beloso's hasn't been hot at the plate, I think defensively and offensively, Milazzo's not a liability, but he's just hitting around him is difficult.
Milazzo and Kling, those are two guys that if they're going to see any action in the postseason, it's going to be either somebody gets hurt or they're the defensive replacement at the very end of the game, like 8th and 9th. But you just can't have these guys coming up with runners on or anything like that right now. They're just not seeing the ball right, especially Kling. Kling is just like feeling it hard.
Dugas isn't seeing the ball right now either. He is swinging at junk.
Yeah, Dugas. Yeah, what are you saying, Cole?
Droughts happen, though, man. It's baseball. You know, even players have droughts. But I think Kling in the future, I think he's going to be the real deal. I think
for sure. Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think he's just hitting this like freshman slump. And Jared Jones had a little bit of that too in the middle of the season. He's picked it up a little bit better, but if he faces a guy that's got a lights out curve, it's just gonna be 3 pitches up, 1, 2, 3.
It's home run or bust at every at bat with him.
Yeah, he's Pedro Serrano. He is like he's literally Pedro Serrano from Major League. A white Pedro Serrano, I should say.
No, that's Joe Bear. Joe Bear's got the voodoo doll.
Yeah, Joe Bear. So Joe Bear seems like he's hitting lefties better than what he did last year for sure.
Same thing with Trey.
Trey, yeah, I don't think he's ever really had a problem hitting lefties.
Last year he was 139 versus lefties.
But I like the lineup that we have right now. If you get, Milazzo, I'm sorry, you just can't have him catching right now. You have to have Travinski. He's got too good of a bat. And honestly, there's a couple little plays every now and then that I know Milazzo is a fantastic catcher, and I know he's great at blocking balls and everything. But every now and then there's some like screw up play, and one of them was the catcher's interference. And I'm like, this guy's too good. You can't hit good enough to make these kind of mistakes. Like you have to be perfect defensively if we're going to play you, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can't be giving out like that's 2 runs you basically gave up because of this stupid bonehead play. Like everybody raves about his defensive, and he's great, but it's just every now and then he comes out of nowhere with this dumb crap, and it's like then you're going to sit the bench because you're not hitting well enough to play.
I also think go for it, Cole.
No, I was just saying he's too inconsistent, like hitting as well to keep him in the lineup. I mean, his defense is what he's in there for, but even when he's making plays like that, there's no point in having him in there.
No.
I think Travinski's defensive ability has solidified this year because last year he was a complete liability behind the plate. Mm-hmm. He passed balls, blocking balls, it felt like every time he was behind the plate, sometimes he'd extend innings almost 4 or 5 batters, mm-hmm. right? But this year he's done a lot better of limiting that. I feel like he's kind of become like a nice little clay wall, not a brick wall, but a clay wall.
Clay wall. That's a good analogy. So all right, let's talk about the regional a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll pull it up on the screen. Obviously, we got Tulane on Friday at 2. I'm off Friday, thank God. I was gonna have to watch it at work, but I was already and everybody freaking out about this. This is pretty much always been the case that we're the first game. Like we're the early game on Friday.
The 1 seed is early.
Yeah. That's Skip Burtman used to do that. Just so if you happen to lose, you don't have to turn around like the next morning to play.
Yep.
For your loser,
if you're up at like
loser
midnight.
bracket game. Yeah. And you get a little bit more rest to the nighttime game too. So, and you get to scout the other team. Yep. There's a couple of different reasons why he would always do that. But all right. So Cole, Charlie and I were actually just talking about this before I even got on. I have a whole bunch of Oregon State stats, and we'll talk about that. I didn't pull up any Sam Houston stats, but now I started diving into it more this afternoon. I actually think Sam Houston's going to beat Oregon State.
I mean, they played LSU well. I think it was the Carbach Classic earlier year. I mean, it wasn't an easy game, So I think they have a chance for sure.
They can just hit, bro. Like so here's my logic to this. Is this day and age of college baseball, offense is going to dominate pitching overall. You're seeing pitchers, ace pitchers that come in with four ERAs and stuff like that these days. These averages are climbing. Home runs are definitely up. Sam Houston's one that's got. I think they have two 400 hitters. They have, I think, another maybe 4 or 5 over 300. And you look at Oregon State, they're down a
290.
starter. They have one guy like their ace. Their ace was, I think, their second starter. He's going to pitch, I think, against Sam Houston State. But overall, if you look at he's got a 4 or something ERA. They don't have the pitching like they used to have on some of those championship teams that they had before, and their offense is one of their weaknesses too. So I think the combination of that with the Sam Houston State that can just hit like crazy. I don't like Oregon State's chances with that, and that's kind of what we do when we get a 14 regional. We start looking at who's this 2 seed, because the 2 seed's going to come out of that. Well, this time I don't think that's going to happen. But I have the stats for Oregon State anyway, if you want to look at them. But I just don't think that they. I don't know. I think there's something about Sam Houston State, and I saw them earlier this year too. But this is Oregon State's, I guess top 10 batters. But I think the guy that is a little bit of an unknown is the Garrett Forrester. I think he's a freshman, but he has the ability to like.
He's their 400.
Go on a tear.
Yeah.
He's like their freshman Dylan Cruz. He came into the season. I'm sorry, not Forster, Gavin Turley. So even further down, he was 286. He was batting like 400 at the beginning of the season. Took a big nosedive, and then now he's coming back. But Gavin Turley is their freshman guy who they're going to put probably in the middle of the lineup, and he just doesn't look like he should be there because of his stats. But he's got 10 home runs. But I think he was like one of the top prospects coming out of high school last year. So he's a true freshman, but probably should be in minor league baseball right now. But I don't think they have a lot of like, and I have to also think about it's the Pac-12. Like, it's not the same Pac-12 that when I was little and Pac-12 was like tearing it up and all that stuff. This is just a different Pac-12, and these numbers are, 379 is great, but I just don't see the pop. Like I see, what is that, 5 guys over 10 home runs?
Yeah, they're not playing Stanford every game,
Yeah, and necessarily, I don't even know if they're doing small ball either. I think they're still trying to hit for power and hit doubles and stuff like that, but I don't think they're doing probably either one of them good right now. So, and I say that, but they still have guys over 300. Obviously, they're going to do well. But if I look at that with the pitching staff and the first guy on there, Jacob Comance, he's not even on the active roster. He's injured, so that was their top guy. And then it goes down to this Trent Sellers kid, who I think is going to be pitching against Sam Houston. So there's not a lot of pitching depth there either. And we're always bitching about LSU's pitching depth, but like nobody else has it either. I started looking up walk stats the other day because I wanted to see, LSU. We just feel like the bullpen's just walking everybody, especially in the middle of the part of the season. And then you go and look at everybody else's stats, and they have way more walks than we do. So I think we're still in a really good spot. Speaking of, let's talk about who you're thinking for the pitching rotations, because I already know what I think it's going to be. And I think it would be dumb any other way.
I think it's got to be Hurd or Coleman on Friday. And the way Hurd pitched in Hoover that first game, I think it's going to be Hurd on Friday, Skeens on Saturday, Floyd on Sunday, potentially Coleman on Monday if you need him.
What do you think, Cole?
I agree with that. I think it's more important to look at the relief pitchers and how they perform. That's really going to decide how far, we go.
So I think it's I also think it's Hurd, Skeens, Floyd, exact same rotation that you had at SEC tournament. You did it at the SEC tournament specifically for this reason. Do not move these guys around and mess up
with
that
rest.
clock at all. Let them just keep on their schedule like normal. But I agree, the relief pitchers in the SEC tournament completely stepped up. And I think I made a tweet about that. Like, guys, I made little check marks next to each guy. Like, obviously, Hurd, Skeens, I don't care if he had
Had
an
a
off
bad
game. Like,
game.
give me a break. Like, guys, lights out. You had Cooper. Obviously, Floyd pitched well. Ackenhausen. I mean, obviously, they brought in Dutton. He throws a hanger. Like, I don't think you're really going to see Dutton in too many other opportunities unless they're like, the only way I can see a Dutton is if you're in the College World Series or you're like on a super regional, and you have another game to play and you're down by like 6 runs and you don't want to waste any more pitchers. You throw a guy like Dutton out there, or a guy like Little, or somebody like that is not really
I
there.
agree
But
with Little.
yeah,
I think Sam Dutton was our go-to guy on Sundays when it was Grant Taylor and Sam Dutton. Taylor would go through the lineup once, Dutton would go through the lineup once, and you'd throw the rest of the pen.
mm-hmm.
And I just think it's a pitching coach matchup that doesn't mix well with Dutton right now because he's he's a fastball with bite guy. And the way I've seen Wes Johnson coach the fastball, I haven't seen a lot of two-seamers from our guys. Some of the older guys who have had two-seamers in the past are using them, but the younger guys who maybe had like a developing two-seamer aren't using them. And I feel like Dutton was a guy with a two-seamer that it had a little bite on the end of it, and he used it well last year. He hasn't really used it this year. He's used the curveball. And then the same thing with Bryce Collins. Bryce Collins was kind of like a curveball guy with a pretty straightforward fastball, but he mixed it up a lot and it worked. But we haven't seen Jay liked to go to both of them last year, and we haven't really seen him a lot this year.
Well, I was glad to see Ackenhausen come back. I know he was hurt, and like come back and look like that stud that we saw early in the season against like Texas and stuff.
Yep.
He's got this lights out slider when he's on that you have to have. Like, you need to have a guy like that can just come in and he could throw no hit ball for 3 innings if he's on. It was good to see that.
He doesn't get rattled either. That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same guy the whole time.
Isn't he from Oregon?
Maybe.
I thought he was from a JUCO, and I thought it was Oregon.
No,
and
he's a freshman.
I could check it.
Yeah, check that, because I the first thing I thought of was like, oh, maybe he's going to be jacked up to play Oregon State. He was from I thought he was from a JUCO. I might be wrong, but but so it was good. It was good to see him. It was good to see Cooper throw nasty shit again. You really hadn't seen that out of him this year. It didn't seem like until this weekend. So it was good to see some of these guys that you're going to be able to depend on.
Yep.
I
think Gidria guy is somebody you could see.
Yes. Yep.
I almost look at him as a closer at this point.
Yep.
He's got lights out stuff for an inning and a half, 2 innings.
Yeah, and we need a closer. I mean, we really were thinking Hurd maybe could have turned into that guy, but now
with the length he's gotten,
I think what you could see, I mean, typically whenever you get to Omaha, you got a little bit more space in between your starts to where you can really go with 2 guys for the most part, and maybe have one guy every now and then has to throw, but like you can really rely on these 2 guys if you're in the winner's bracket, and you could have a guy like Hurd come in and close games out instead of having to use them all up for a game, right? That could be a role for him down the line, but I think it's perfect for where we're at right now. I think the question could be like, if you get through this and you get to the supers, you got to throw Skeens Friday night. Like, you got to.
I think bullpen matchups super important though. Like who in the bullpen do you match up with starters? Because I think Herring and Skeens are a very good pair. Because Herring throws a slider and a fastball with bite on them, and Skeens is a lot of straightforward fastball, right? And so when you switch up a look like that, that's how you keep the offense guessing and strike guys out.
It feels like Jay likes to go with a righty lefty, wouldn't you say? Like he likes to
Most of the time,
switch it up in a reliever.
Skeens, Ackenhausen, Skeens, Herring, like or Skeens, Skeens Cooper for Arkansas.
Right.
I think that's worked because it's a different arm slot, it's different speed, it's different movement on the ball. But I think like Thatcher Hurd starting, that's where you're like, okay, well, who do you throw now? Because it's like, would you throw Guidry? Would you try to throw another lefty again? Because Floyd's gotten fucked by the bullpen. They have not found a pairing for Floyd.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that today about. I know who it was. I'm not going to say who it is, but they were saying throw Floyd in the first game, and I think that's the dumbest shit ever.
Nope.
Like Tulane is 19-40 for a reason, right?
Tulane's going to throw their ace versus us, but
yeah, but
I think they will.
Hurd is pitching very well. Like,
yep.
I don't think that you're dropping off any by throwing Hurd or Floyd instead of Hurd or vice versa. Like I think they're pretty comparable at this point, and like they have really good stuff. Hurd's stuff actually, when he's on, it's this is crazy to say this. He reminds me of Aaron Nola when he's on. He reminds me of Aaron Nola. He's got a good fastball, and he's got like a wipeout curve to go along with it. He just has that kind of like, I don't know if it's his physique. Maybe he's not quite as tall, but like something about him that kind of reminds me of that look.
Yeah. Ackenhausen's from Oklahoma, by the way.
Oklahoma. Okay, I got the O right. He looks like he's from Oklahoma, actually. Yeah, but it's good to have. It's not only good to have some relief pitchers step up, but it's also good to have some lefties step up. Man, we really needed that too. But I love those three guys that we have starting. Obviously Skeens, but Hurd seems like he's got a lot of confidence. And honestly, Ty Floyd has looked like so good all year to me. He's had, I think there was like what series that the Kentucky series where Auburn series where the umpires just completely fucked us in the fourth inning, and like all of a sudden he couldn't find the plate. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's just like stuff like that that's going to throw him off. But otherwise, he's got great stuff this year. His knock was always having that second pitch, and he's got I think three of them.
He had a plus changeup, an average curveball, and a below average or an average fastball and a below average curve last year.
Mm-hmm.
But he was still a starter. So
yeah, but even his fastball, and I credit Wes Johnson for this. It seems like every single guy on the rotation from last year to this year that was on the staff, their fastball is increased by like 3 miles an hour.
Yep.
Like, Ty Floyd was throwing a good fastball. He was like 94, 95. Now he's like 97. Like, no, that's.
And it's consistent for 6 to 7 innings.
Yeah.
Because with like Tennessee's guys, Dolander was throwing 98, 99, a couple hundreds in that Tennessee game. But once he got to the fourth inning, he was down to 96, 97, 95, 96, 95, 96 until he got put out.
What were you saying, Cole?
No, it's that track, man. I mean, that's why they brought Wes in, to bring that MLB level knowledge to the team. And I think that's kind of what separates LSU's bullpen from a lot of the other bullpens that might be around the same in talent, Just having Wes there guiding them along.
He's catching a lot of flack online too right now.
Yeah, and I think the SEC tournament shut a little bit of that up.
Yep.
I haven't heard too much since then.
Well, that and they're calling for Jay's head. I'm like, y'all are idiots.
I know.
So bad.
There's just some fucking idiots on Twitter, bro. I don't know what to tell you, but it's bad. Like, there's some dum-dums. That's what I call them. They're just dum-dums. Yeah, speaking of, we have a T-shirt for sale. What did I say?
It
was a literal quote, though, that I've seen on Twitter.
We're gonna
It
get
was
bounced
like,
in the regional.
yeah, we're not even going to win our own regional, is what it
Yeah.
was. And I have some other ones in the works for a couple of weeks from now.
My
But
favorite are those Facebook ones. Those are hilarious, dude.
yes, the Facebook LSU Facebook,
LSU
they're
Facebook's the
lights
best.
out. They're
Dude,
dynamite.
Tiger droppings is my favorite.
I have
'Cause
people
somebody-
sending me Facebook posts now, and they say, "Oh, you got to post this." So I have people doing that now. But that's what I actually said the other day. I can't even tell the difference in LSU Facebook and LSU Twitter anymore because there's
It's the
so
same
many
people.
dum-dums out there about LSU baseball right now. Like, you lose one game or you lose the SEC tournament. I don't think people understand, like,
How
when
difficult it
Skip
is.
Bertman was there, he did not give a shit about the SEC tournament. We were 0-2 so many times, or 0-1. Sometimes I think back then it wasn't even a double elimination sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, he did not care. He was not going to throw his ace. He was not going to do any of that. He was just there, and then get out. Let's just go to the regional. And so he really didn't care. We at least tried to do some stuff, but
Well, I noticed Maneri typically got a lot of his ranking in the SEC tournament a lot of the time because he won 6 of them.
yeah, I actually talked about it last week. One of the ones that I remember the SEC tournament was 2008. So it was the year before we won in 2009.
Yeah.
We had a 23 game winning streak, including the SEC tournament. So like, we blew through the entire last half of the SEC season, swept the SEC tournament. That was the Cal State Irvine regional, all that stuff. It was all kind of, it was like the last year at the old Alex Box. So it was all kinds of stuff. But I did want to talk, and we'll talk about it in a second. But like, if you have any regional memories, your favorite regionals, or any past regionals that you can remember any moments of. Mine are going to be so old.
Mine aren't good.
Not good?
Well, because we hadn't been the only time we've been productive in a regional, I feel like, and I mean, obviously we have, but 2017, 2018, and then after that, it just kind of falls off quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Coastal Carolina coming in and kicking our ass in the supers in 3 games in 2018 when they won.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we would get Southern Miss in our side.
Oh no!
Just to get the revenge from last year, dude.
Yeah. So people are picking them to.
They're gonna make Omaha.
Yeah. What's their regional bracket again?
So I could tell you, they're in Auburn. They're the 2 seed.
2 seed against Auburn. That's right.
They played Penn and Samford, and then they get matched up with Clemson in the supers, the Clemson regional.
Mm-hmm.
So Clemson, Lipscomb, Charlotte, Tennessee.
Which Tennessee, some people think Tennessee's going to come out of that one too.
They're going to shit the bed in that one.
That Saturday game, though, I will say this: that's got to be must-watch viewing. Clemson against Dolander. That Saturday, that'll be a really good game.
But I think Southern Miss is going to win theirs. I think they're going to make Omaha. Their pitching staff, they've got the best college pitching coach in the country. They consistently have one of the best pitching staffs in the country every year, in and out.
So Cole, you wanted
bats, back it
you
up.
wanted Southern Miss and USL. So you wanted? I
would have liked to see revenge, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I the ULL fans wanted to be in our regional so bad.
Nichols too.
They say they wanted to be in it, but I don't think they really
mollywopped.
But actually, ULL got screwed on their regional.
Oh yeah,
that's a tough one. What is it? The Miami regional?
The Coral Gables regional. Miami, Maine, Louisiana, and Texas.
Wow.
Maine's my dark horse for a 4 seed, to be honest.
To win the first game or just to come out?
To win the first game or to come out and get to a super.
I'm telling you, Charlie, come on. Fade Charlie.
Miami's good.
There's no way Maine is not coming out of Miami, Texas, and ULL. They're not coming out of that.
Fair.
It's brutal. College baseball history, if you have a Miami and Texas in the same regional, it's fucking loaded. It's a lot of talent right there. I'm interested to see not only the Clemson regional with Tennessee, but I want to see if there's any bad blood at the Kentucky regional.
Oh, so much.
with the housing situation that they're having to have with all these other teams. So they're having to bring in the other teams to the freshman dorms in Kentucky because of the concert, the country music concert in Lexington. All the
And
hotels are booked.
and there's a bunch of state championship and tournaments going on in Lexington on UK's campus.
Which Lexington is not a small town. It is actually pretty large, and there's a lot of lodging. So if it's sold out, this was not scheduled correctly. And that's not only are they, I heard that on the radio, but that not only are they having teams board in the freshman dorms, which is like
pay for it.
they have to pay for it, $92.50 a night.
Yep.
To live in the freshman dorm, so they have like communal bathrooms and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, interesting.
You want to get into the regional drama? I want to get into the regional drama.
Yeah, what you got?
Alabama. First off, Alabama, Auburn, and Terre Haute.
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute. I don't care. I don't think Alabama should have gotten a regional. I don't think Auburn should have gotten a regional, and Indiana State should not have gotten a regional.
Okay.
I think you have more deserving teams.
I don't think Indiana State should have. I don't think
Auburn shouldn't have it either. So Indiana State and Auburn, both of their athletic directors are on the picking committee. Auburn's is the head of the picking committee.
Well, and then there was also like Cohen. Cohen was he's I think the head of it, right? So John Cohen, so how many SEC teams were going to get in, and how many were going to get regional bids because he was involved. That was part of it too. But I didn't have any problem with Auburn and Alabama. I felt like they were both pretty hot. And honestly, man, since Alabama's coaching changed, they've been playing so good. Like, it makes you wonder what that guy was really doing. Like, that was bad. Like, something really terrible was going on if they were that good at the time, and he was just like fucking them. I don't know what he was doing. Like, he was just getting money out of it. It's hard to see exactly what was happening now, but like, yeah, they're on fire. So I didn't mind that too much. I don't like having like Indiana State with like, they have a good RPI, but they have basically no wins over the top 50 30. Or whatever it is. Yeah. They just don't belong there. And they have Iowa in theirs?
Oh yeah, they've got a tough regional. They've got a tough one. They've got Iowa, Wright State, and North Carolina.
Oh, okay. North
Carolina and Iowa, those are two. I mean, North Carolina's a powerhouse.
Yeah. They usually have a lot of pitching, North Carolina. And we see in Iowa. So is Iowa still got that guy that just throws 100?
Yep.
You don't know where it's going to go?
Nope. He's gotten it more under control, but they'd end up in Arkansas Super. So,
what are you going to say, Cole?
No, I was going to go back to the Alabama drama. I remember after that game and all that news broke, Trey texted me and he was like, yeah, we were wondering why they didn't throw their best pitcher or something like for a certain game. And
yeah,
I thought that was pretty telling that even they knew something was going on, and then that just confirmed it,
No, that's crazy. Speaking of the team right now, Cole, I don't know if you know, but Tommy White, I know he was out in the SEC tournament. They said it was because of rest. I don't know if you know anything more than that, if there was any kind of like injury or just rest, or
it could be lingering shoulder stuff. But I mean, I don't like to speculate,
And that shoulder stuff would have been from the first game of the season, right?
Yeah,
like diving into the bag. The only other thing I could think of was there was some kind of rule, and it just felt like a disciplinary thing, but it could have been rest. The guy's been playing every game, and that's where it started to look like, okay, if you win, that's great. If you lose, let's just go home and let's just regroup for the regional. Let's not expend as much energy as we need to expend. Yeah.
Joe Bear looked good at third, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he did. I mean, honestly, Joe Bear has been
lights out,
really good. Yeah, like better than I thought he was going to be this year. Let's talk about our dark horses for breakout players for LSU baseball, and this seems to happen almost every time we have a run, like to Omaha or whatever. We have this one guy that just kind of comes out of nowhere, or is just not really on the radar, and he just goes on a tear, or he's lights out. And I don't know, y'all give me your picks for your breakout players.
I'll go first. I mean, I'm kind of biased, but I think Trey. He's been really hot recently, and
Yeah.
I was not convinced that left field would be the best spot for him when they moved him. But I mean, he's looked great out there. Just had like ESPN top 10 play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he can keep stringing hits together and providing that defense, I mean, he might be one of the best left fielders in the country right now.
Yeah.
I like having Trey in left, but defensively, I think with the way Joe Bear's playing, the way Joe Bear played outfield in Hoover, he played lights out in the outfield in Hoover. My buddy who went to Hoover said it was kind of crazy because he was kind of seen as a liability in the outfield when he was playing, but dude, he was hauling in Hoover. And Hoover's a big ballpark to play outfield in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could put Trey back at first and know you've got Pearson in left or Pearson in right and Joe Bear in left, and kind of feel good about your corner outfielders. But I
Yeah, I
think
think you can move him around however you want
yep,
to, especially with Beloso. I would think Beloso is going to be your first baseman if Trey Morgan's
Trey's
not going to be
yeah.
your first baseman. So, and then you can move him back, maybe if it's a defensive replacement. The thing about Trey at the beginning of the year, it seemed like when he was playing left field, and you could just tell he wasn't totally used to
Comfortable.
it at all, and like judging balls, he still did it even on the. I
Oh
think he
yeah.
got it was a number one play, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So even on that play, he misjudged the ball. Like he had to turn around mid run, and little things like that he's gonna get. It's gonna all it takes is just more repetition, and
Exactly.
you can tell he's fantastic no matter where he's going to be at.
So for my field players, I've got three guys to watch.
Charlie did
Dark
a little
horse.
above and beyond on his
I
homework
know.
assignment, and he came up with
Uh,
three guys.
the first two, I think if these two dudes pop, like I think this will really help the team a lot. Is Thompson at the plate and Josh Pearson. Josh Pearson focused on getting singles, maybe a double, and walks. That I think if you put
Two hole
Pearson,
guy. Is that
two
what you're
hole
looking for?
guy,
Yeah.
yeah, singles, doubles, and walks, getting on base, having Cruz and Pearson on with Tommy White coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a deadly first three, and then Jordan Thompson at the plate. I think I think don't be surprised if he comes out for versus Tulane and just has a hot bat and he's eyeing up balls and just hitting it all over the ballpark. I think he's been pretty lulled at the plate, but I think they moved him up in the lineup and pitchers started challenging him a lot more than they did when he was at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Who do you have
Um,
for your pitchers?
Blake Money versus Tulane and Sam Houston.
Oh my god.
Trust me, Blake Money is the king of LSU when it comes to playing low level teams. He will, for some reason, versus guys like Sam Houston and Tulane, all of a sudden Blake Money will have like a 5 or 6 strikeout game, and you're like, whoa, where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
And then Bryce Collins. Bryce Collins is going to come out with piss and vinegar. He's going to be
I
pissed
agree
about
with
leaving that thing
Collins.
hanging.
Collins.
Yeah, my thing with Blake Money is if he's going to be in the game, I want a 5-run lead.
Yep. The Tigers dropping jokes I was talking about earlier is I took a picture of it. I was at work and I was bored, and somebody posted Blake Money. It's shit. It was death, taxes, and Blake Money giving up a garbage time home run.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Just a big old meatball down the middle.
Yeah,
That's what he does.
He'll throw a curveball and it just
It looks like
does
a
not
damn
bite.
beach
Yeah,
ball. Like,
you're
I
like,
mean, it's ridiculous.
dude.
All right, so I have a hitter and a pitcher. My hitter is also Josh Pearson. So I do like him in the 2 hole. I also think if you see, here's another thing about Oregon State, even though I just don't know if they're going to beat Sam Houston, but Oregon State didn't have a whole lot of lefties. I know Tulane's going to throw a lefty, but it's not like Hagen Smith,
They're not
and
Class A left.
they're not at that level. They're just not going to have that kind of pitching. Even a lefty, a lefty matchup, if it's not some of these lights out sliders that you've been seeing out of some of these guys from Arkansas, I think Pearson can hit him. Joe Bear can hit him. Whenever they were seeing those huge lefties, that was just that was like Randy Johnson kind of stuff. But anyway, I think Pearson can solidify that 2-hole and get on base for. And I honestly, I've always hated Dylan Cruz being in the 1-hole. I always thought he should be the three-hole guy. I know he got in a slump, and you put him in the 1-hole just to change it up. I don't know if they're going to ever go back to that. I think he's just going to be in the 1-hole now. But you need somebody in between Cruz and White that can step up and get on base. That way, you have White that you can't pitch around at that point. So,
you'd have Cruz in the scoring position and another guy on first, and White coming up.
Yeah, and then I mean, if you try to pitch around White, then you have Morgan and Travinsky, who are the two hottest hitters that we have on the team right now. So, the lineup is crazy, but that 2-hole to me is so important, and Gavin Dugas is important as well. Like, I just think those two guys got to step up, and kind of that can boost the offensive production tenfold. So, all right, that's my hitter is Pearson, but my pitcher is going to be Gavin Guidry. Gavin Guidry coming in, closing games out. Like, we're going to get 6 innings typically out of these starters, and you'll probably be in a really good spot. Then you're going to have about 2 innings of, a little uneasiness, and you need somebody that can come in the ninth. You got to have somebody that can come in the ninth that's going to be nails. And that guy, he may not be the best pitcher ever. He may not be one of the best players ever, but I can tell you what he has. He has fucking confidence. That guy he knows he's a stud, and he's been a stud his entire high school career. That guy he oozes confidence, and that's what I want in a closer. I need that guy to come in and just be nails. He can be that Zach Hess kind of guy.
What's the quote from Bert Kreischer? It's like, you're the big dick in the locker room.
yeah. I know exactly the quote you're talking about. But exactly, yes. Gavin Guidry can do that. So that's my guy. I just think that he's going to have to play a big role. And I mean, talk about a guy. He didn't even freaking pitch when he came here. Like, that wasn't what he was even going to be doing. So he was going to be your shortstop next year.
Well, there was the talk it was going to be him or Dugas at second, and potentially Dugas at DH if he took over second.
Right.
So, but there's a good chance he's your shortstop next year, and he'll come in the close on games he doesn't play.
Yeah, and I would love to say Dugas would be the guy that I would look at as the breakout player, but it seemed like he broke out already early this year, and now he's just been through a slump. So
I think it's a lot to do with his eyesight. I think he's not trusting his eyes right now. He's not I think a lot of it has to do with, in the past, he's always been like, he's seen the pitcher's arm slot really well, and he's not seeing it. He's seeing skinny wrist, fat wrist, and he's not seeing any of it right now. And so he's just kind of trusting his instincts on swing, and dude, it lands 3 feet in front of the plate.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's like him and Jones. Like, the report's out. Like, these guys know what they need to throw to these guys. Yep. The analytics is there. He's just not picking it up.
I think that's something that Johnson has done a really good job too with, is like finding out who his guys are and finding out what they're good at, and put those positions to make those plays.
Oh, I agree completely. I think that I mean, guys like Pearson, like putting a Pearson in there, think how deep we are, man. Like, we still got, I know, Cole, we need to talk about that. Like, maybe setting up for next year. Like, look at this year's roster to where you're going to be at next year. I mean, Tommy Tanks just alone. But like
For
Pearson, you got Josh Stevenson still there, just sitting on the bench.
Your outfield next year is going to be potentially, I think it's going to be Pearson in center or Kling, but Pearson and Kling in the outfield, and then Mick Paul or one of the freshmen that's coming in. And Mick Paul had a really good fall. We have so many outfilders.
Yeah, and you don't even know who we're going to get in the
outfielders.
transfer portal yet. I mean,
That too.
we cleaned up last year. So, who are some other guys that I'm not thinking about?
Fry.
Ethan Fry.
Yeah,
Right.
Fry. Zeb Ruddle also redshirted with Mick Paul. Pitching wise, we're gonna be getting a lot of guys back mid-season next year.
Yeah, Grant Taylor for sure.
Taylor.
Yeah, who's that third catcher too? That freshman. I'm drawing a blank on.
Oh, Brady Neal.
Neal. Shit.
Yeah, Brady Neal.
He's the best of both worlds. He started the beginning of the year. He's the best of both worlds. He's a really good catcher who hits for power.
Yep, exactly. And you have Gavin Guidry can be in that mix middle infield. I would have liked to seen him hit a little bit more this year and kind of get some at bats underneath him, but there's just so many at bats you can give.
Cole, is Connor Simon still on the roster?
Oh, I'm not exactly sure. I could double check. I don't think so.
He's a local guy from where I'm from. He's a middle infielder who had a lot of power.
I saw another Pearson going to be coming to us too.
Josh.
So it'll be
a Josh?
A third Pearson.
No,
I think he's John.
Yeah.
John Pearson. John.
And he can mash.
Yeah, the 13 home runs in his home run derby.
Yeah, he's not that little quick Pearson guy. No, he can mash.
There's another Pearson?
Yeah. Well, wasn't there? Or am I thinking of Stevenson's? I'm thinking of Stevenson's.
Stevenson. Yeah.
I'm mixing up Stevenson's and Pearson's.
Yeah.
So
I think Stevenson transfers this summer, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There's no spot for him.
I mean, he's going to be a pinch runner.
Yeah. Jack Merritt. I mean, love Jack Merrifield to death. I've definitely heard him and Will Helmers are two very good locker room guys. Merrifield's graduating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's a situational runner and he's messed that up this year.
Will Helmers. Is Helmers hurt? I haven't seen him at all in like a couple months.
Knowing him, he's a Jesuit guy. He's from New Orleans like me, but yeah, I mean he pitched a couple times and just never really had his A game.
He couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're gonna pull some guys out of the portal, no doubt. It feels like you got a lot of pitching that we hadn't even like really touched on too much. I mean, Christian Little will be back.
No, not next year. He's gone.
Oh, you think so? Oh, I thought he was a sophomore. Maybe he's
a junior. No, he's a draft eligible sophomore. Okay. Or no, he's a junior. But he's 19, but he's a junior.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That we haven't even seen this year. He's been dealing with some, I think it's either elbow or shoulder injuries, but he's a freshman, Jaden Newt. I mean,
Jaden Newt. Appleby, too.
You know who I thought we would see in a closer role later in the year? I knew he was going to have some time to develop, but Aiden Moffitt, like Duke, he can hurl. So, like, I know they got some arms that you hadn't even really seen. Like, we didn't think we were going to see Jaden Coleman until
the regional, to be honest.
Right. So you're going to have him. You'll have Grant Taylor back, obviously.
You won't get Grant Taylor back until the 4th or 5th series of SEC play, to be honest. And I wouldn't want to rush him back either. And you won't get the two. You won't get Edwards and Shores back until playoffs. Basically.
Shores. Yeah. So you think they'll miss that much time?
Well, I think we're going to pull in a couple guys from the transfer portal. And then I think personally, because Grant Taylor is draft eligible, but I think he's going to stay because he's going to be a 7th or an 8th round pick right now.
Right. He can increase his money. Yeah.
But he's got 1st round pick stuff.
Right.
So I think he'll stay. and then I think we'll bring in two or three guys, one for the bullpen, maybe two to start, and then Grant Taylor. I think there's potential that Helmers, not Helmers, Herring.
Herring,
I
yeah.
think there's potential we have two starting lefties next year. Herring, Coleman, and then later in the year, I think you see Taylor again starting.
Yeah, I know they'll be deep, no doubt. And yeah, we're gonna get so many portal guys. I honestly, NIL's opened up all that now to where not only do we have the best facilities, but now we have all the money to give these guys, and it's just going to be an embarrassment of riches. So
you see what I tweeted earlier? Talk about the Vanderbilt upgrade. Vandy's upgrading their stadium, which okay. I don't know what is it called, the Hawk, dude. It's nice. It's tiny. 4,500 seats. They're upgrading it. They're adding another 1,500 to 2,000 seats. I tweeted, I was like, Jay, you win and you can do whatever the fuck you want to Alex Fox.
Right.
Move the bullpens, move the stands, put speakers. Like
the only problem with LSU right now is that I know that they're focused on the PMAC, and it's just been
well, the PMAC.
This has been like 10 years in the
PMAC
making that they've been, and now with Kim Mulkey winning it, that they're just like all eyes on the PMAC. It's the oldest stadium they got that needs renovation. So that's like the next thing on the agenda. But yes, Alex Box. So the old Alex Box had so much like energy to it, and there was like people felt like they were closer to this to the field. There was all kinds of like, there's barbecues going on everywhere, and it was a lot like Duty Noble, if you've seen that, like a lot like that, where it's very much, it feels more homey, whereas the new box felt a little bit cold and like a little traditional. So like you see teams like Ole Miss that have the burn, and even Arkansas. Arkansas's got stuff going on in the outfield all the time, and like there's people are partying. That needed to come back a little bit, and they just haven't done enough to get it.
I think what they went for with the new Alex Box was a family feel, because you've got the two playgrounds in the outfield, which I think is to personally try to limit students. Limit students and how they act, because especially now that they're selling beer to students, which I say that quote unquote hypothetically, the entire reason that the right field isn't the student section anymore is so that they could sell beer, because you can't sell in the SEC. You can't sell beer in the student section. You have to sell it outside.
So they have to go walk around and then they come back.
Right. Well, so what they did was they split it. So it's a family section and the student section. So you could control the students and what they say, but also you could sell beer.
Well, I still think they had the energy. Like the students, they were fine. I didn't have any problem with it. I just, you see some of these other environments and you're like, man, I wish we could easily be like that, or if not better.
I think he went for more of like a professional look, to be honest.
Like a really nice minor leagues ballpark. That's what it feels like. Yeah.
And I still hold the idea that it's a cathedral of college baseball. Hands down. I've been to a couple ballparks. I've been to the Hoover Met, which is really fun. The feral children of Hoover.
Feral children of Hoover.
Dude, that's hilarious. The video of the kid trying to bite through the net. Top 10. But I've been to Hoover. I've been to Arkansas, Vandy. It just feels, like you said, professional, but it feels like a cathedral. You walk into a cathedral and you're in like a holy place, right? You're here to watch some good baseball.
Well, that's why I'm hoping you start seeing some big time excitement. And I know, I think the Tennessee loss last year has given everybody a little pause of like, if they were that good and they were that dominant and they still lost, I think that's when we started losing a couple of series. Everybody started like questioning like what was going on, and I think they're in the back of their mind, they're thinking about Tennessee. So there's gonna be a lot of like unwarranted pressure on this team to win this regional, because this is tailor made for them to get to Omaha, in my opinion. And we didn't even talk about the matchup with
favorable super.
Right. We didn't even talk about that. Like, I feel like
okay. Realistically, Kentucky, Indiana, or West Virginia, but Ball State's also in the regional.
Right.
I think you get West Virginia.
I do. I think you get West Virginia also.
Good team.
Yeah, and I think Kentucky's good too. I just don't think that I think they have a great RPI, and a great strength of schedule, but I just don't think they were that good. Like, I don't know. They didn't have anything that was like completely special to me. But yeah, I liked West Virginia coming out of that. And either way, either one of them coming to Alex Box to take 2 out of 3 from us, you're gonna have to like really, really hit
dice us up.
Like you're gonna have to, like you're gonna have to even hit Skeens. Like I don't know. I just think you're not gonna be able to pitch around Skeens. Like you can't do that in the supers. Like all that bullshit that they were trying to during the SEC, you're not gonna be able to get away with that this time. You're gonna have to throw your ace, try to get a win, and set up a second game, but you can't do it. Like,
well, because I think that's having them back to the Skeens, Floyd, Hurd dynamic in the super.
That is a great combo, man.
What do you do? Because Floyd is a legitimate ace on every other team.
Not to mention I don't care who's pitching. If we score 8 or more runs, we're typically going to win the game. And with our offense, if we can score that kind of production, I mean, we get to like 6 or 7 runs even with a Floyd. It's a win. Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Great episode. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, big shout out to Bank of England Mortgage, our audio sponsor for all of our podcasts. Give them a buzz. You can reach them at boesouthernstates.com. Also, River Cities Total Maintenance, NOLA-AC.com. Give Lucas Ragusa a call for all your AC needs. Fred's in Tigerland since 1982. Best college bar on campus, not even close. And Bocock Brothers Cigars. Reach them, bocockbrothers.com. You can see all their golf gear and cigar selection online. And then On Top Design, you can reach me at ontopdesignbr@gmail.com. All right. So with Charlie and Cole, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll be back, I think, next week. I want to do one in between regionals and supers, obviously. Now, if we lose the regional, I'm probably going to be pretty pissed, and I don't even know if you want a sad episode. So we'll play that one by ear, but we'll try to like plan on a super regional episode. Any last thoughts, guys? Predictions?
3 games.
I agree.
I agree too. 3-0. So yeah, I think we're gonna roll. So Hurd, Skeens, Floyd. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
I'm starting on Friday at 2 o'clock. Though. Every single game.
All right. Good. Well, you can reach us on our Twitter. We'll be updating everybody. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see you guys next time on One Team, One Podcast. Logging out.